It's Eichler's birthday with the package from China. So let's go. Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So in today's video, we are going to take a close look at the D-22S. I just randomly came across this thing and I was really curious and I wanted to see, is this thing any good? I didn't pay a lot of money for it, but is it even actually worth picking up at all? So that's what we're going to take a close look at today. It supports only 5 different emulators, but what are we actually having with this emulator? We're having NES, GBA, Mega Drive, Super Famicom and MAME. The 5 emulators will be supported by this 3.5-inch display. This thing is a super wide LCD. I have no idea what that means. It's surely not an IPS. There seems to be they're having 3 different colors and I went for the red version. I don't know, it just looks kind of cool in the color red. So my first impression, I can tell you that this thing is really cheap. Yeah. So first of all, there is no shoulder buttons. The form factor is not comfortable at all. At the back, we do have ourselves the BL5C replaceable battery. And what I find kind of cool, and that was also the reason I picked it up, not only the price point, but also having 6-button layout. This is a configuration you don't see every single day. Select, start, and then we're going to get a home button. The unfortunate thing is there's no D-pad. The only thing that we're going to get is this freaking analog stick. Oh yeah, I had a brain fart. There is a toilet paper manual, but there's nothing much that shows what it is. Yeah, you can plug it in, some basic explanations, but it's pretty damn horrible and useless. Yeah, and analog is the slider joystick. The same kind of technology or kind of a joystick that we have seen back in the day with the PlayStation Portable. But they're only going to have one speaker at the left side, and this is absolutely a budget product when it comes to that. So inside the box we do have more goodies. So first of all, it comes with an extra controller, and I was quite surprised to see that this thing feels kind of comfortable. Even having this special, let's say, overall form factor of this thing is absolutely nuts. While previous models have these very cheap overall controls, this thing is quite nice. So it's still the same slider joystick, only they raised up the joystick or itself, so it's more comfortable to play. But is it really super comfortable? Not really. Select and start over here. It's also a very strange, very weird combination of one huge button. The ABXY, or better said, the ABXYZL, they completely messed it around, and it comes with a micro USB connection. In here there is no toilet paper manual today, and we do have ourselves the very tiny, pointless, very sad micro USB cable and the AV out with a smaller barrel jack. So let's plug in the battery. They are just a BL5C old school Nokia batteries, and this is an 1020 milliamp, but they are really cheap to buy. So if you want to replace it, upgrade it, that is also a possibility. But yeah, what about the device itself? The configuration also is kind of strange. So I just wanted to showcase, if you want to plug this thing in, you need to do it over here at the right bottom corner. It's a very strange situation. And oh, not to forget, a very important thing that we need to double check is of course SD card. 16 GB comes with this particular model, but I can tell you there are no brands. I think this is a new thing going on there in China. They're not going to give us any good brands anymore. The on and off switch at the right side and the volume control. Powering it on. The display. It's absolutely not an IPS. It's the same thing that we have seen before. Okay, so first of all, let's take a look into the system itself. And can I remove the screen protector? Because it's completely blocking the experience. Yep, there we go. Let's remove that. And let's talk about the menu. The menu, we did see this before with the sub handhelds. So we do have these thumbnails. The thumbnails cannot be switched out. It's fixed. And if the file behind it gets corrupted, it will not work whatsoever. So we are going to have NES, GBA, Mega Drive, Super Famicom and MAME. And this is the settings. The first thing that we're going to try out is to find actually how to get into the menu. No, this button. No. Oh, there we go. And here we're going to change out the language, Espanol, English, and an ancient language. Only 3 of them. It's kind of interesting, but also weird. Alright, select product information. That only shows the SD card, factory detail, and this is for the output. So it needs to be configured if you need to plug it in. So that's a little bit of a bummer. Next thing that we need to do is figure out how to get out of this menu. I think it was pressing start if I'm saying it correctly. Select home. Oh man, the configuration of these things are freaking pain. And yeah, okay, so you know, when it comes to the configuration of everything, what is interesting with the language, it also changes out the front thumbnail, so that is great in my opinion. But the way how this thing actually works, it's so messed up. So the Y button is actually getting into it, into the menus, close screen, and we have auto shut off. This is always saving some batteries. About the battery time, I think you will have around, let's say, in 4 or 5 hours or so, depending how good the charge is. This is only 2 stripes, and I've been playing for it for not a long time, so it depends. Nevertheless, the time which you're going to actually get play with it is also not really relevant. You can always bring multiple batteries with you. But yeah, if you can hit a couple of hours, I think you need to be very glad. Pressing the home button when actually in the game itself. Here we're having the option to make a quick load and quick save and return to the game or exit the game itself. And also showcases the volume control. Okay, so first off, well, let's start with the... How can I crank up the volume, man? Absolutely annoying this thing. Okay, what's happening over here? Oh, the power is now low because I'm cranking it up. Wow, this is how it runs. It runs pretty damn horrible. I can tell you that. Oh, I'm going back from the main menu. It even stutters more. I find it quite fascinating to see how they managed to mess up the emulation of NES. Come on. You can run this on a freaking potato nowadays. Well, I'm always a big fan of the D-pad. I do love this slider joystick. Especially because of the pattern on it. It gives you a lot of grip and a lot of control of the game. Next up, let's try to charge it at the same time. Okay. Can we go back to the menu? Can we just reboot the freaking game? And get at least a freaking overall good experience, because this is horrible! Let's try to boot it up again. But it feels that its system is so freaking slow. In every single way, it's freaking annoying! Come on! Put up the game again. Let's give it another try. But if you think you've seen all of the mistakes they're making with this, it's getting worse. So if you're going to be charging this device at the same time that we're going to actually boot up a game, it just freezes. Yeah, actually, so you cannot even charge and play games. So you're just having a couple of hours to play with a battery or a couple of batteries. That's it. That is really bad. Another system I want to check out is some Game Boy Advance. There are so many cool games to actually play on this. Oh, did I blow out myself? Yep, I did. But this is such a fun game. Boy, man, is so cool. Absolutely cool. Oh yeah. Okay, so there's always one thing with this freaking device I need to figure out: where is the acceleration? Yeah, because all of the buttons are completely messed up in my experience. So where we do have like a pretty damn bad emulation for NES, and GBA wasn't that great. For the Mega Drive part, it seems to be working just fine, without any weird things going on. So I have no more like, how can you just not... What is going on with this particular thing? And that is what I still find surprisingly bad with this device. How can you mess up with the other one, and especially when it comes to basic emulators? Nevertheless, the Mega Drive part seems to be running really great. Next up, another 16-bit system, and I can tell you that it's absolutely the same hot mess like with NES and with GBA. So one of the weirdest things ever is that we can actually play with 2 players at the same time. But you can hear that it frame drops is all over the place. It's absolutely one huge mess. And that's absolutely a big bummer. I cannot even grab, oh there we go, grab the character that I'm supposed to be saving. Oh boy, this is really bad. Maybe because of the software or something going on with the second controller, but let's test that out later, how it's going on with the second player too. But next up, let's try some Beefcake and Dinos with the MAME arcade emulator, and this seems to be running just fine. So from this stand, I think it's basically only the Mega Drive and the MAME that seems to be running just good enough. Oh, this is really cool. Oh yeah. Lay down. I really need to get used to the slider joystick, but I can actually really enjoy this game with this slider joystick, and I am not saying that a lot. Okay, so the next thing that we need to do getting into the TV out mode is need to set the device to the output. There we go, that's much better. I will put it in the original resolution, so that is quite nice. Okay, that's a positive thing. Let's go all the way back and let's choose a game. Before we go to actually choose a game, it looks kind of messed up in my opinion. Let's plug in the second controller and let's see if this feature even works. So there we go. A feature that we do see a lot when it comes to these Chinese devices. But let's boot up the Beefcake game. The next thing that we need to do. No. What you're going to check out is loading. There we go. That was the last part I was reading there. Entering credits. And there we go. Oh, you still need to use the character. Oh boy, this plays absolutely horrible. This is just unplayable with this freaking long slider joystick. Hey, you can play together. It will automatically recognize the second player, but you can only use it actually like the second player. It's time to rip and tear when it comes to the device, and this is one of those difficult ones simply because there are no screws holding this thing together. So I always like to be very gentle getting my prior tools. So let's remove this SD card because it's also a non-branded version. So if you're going to be breaking it, this system will be completely useless because that's another problem of these devices. And let's be very gentle to open it up, and I can tell you this is going to be a challenge. So with a cheap device like this, it's not going to be a big pain if I'm going to destroy something. So the construction is quite interesting, but also a bummer at the same time, because they sanded off completely all of the freaking information of the chip itself. Yeah, there's nothing much to see. Volume control is going to be straightly assembled on the device. So the next thing that we can do, what is maybe interesting, we can remove the frame over here. So this is basically how this thing is put together. So the frame holds the back plate. I would think like make something that you can just slide off if needed. But yeah, let's be honest, besides doing a teardown for review, there is nothing we can actually do with this. And I mean particularly when you're looking at the replacement parts. The only thing you can see there is the speaker. Let's check out what happens if we're going to be removing all of these freaking tiny screws. And let's check out if we can get some cool things going on We can remove the frame over here, but he doesn't want to get loose that easily because it's still stuck somewhere. Man, this thing is absolutely a disaster to remove. But then I think it's also kind of pointless in my opinion, because even if I can remove this thing, it makes no sense whatsoever. Underneath here we're finding the PCB. There's one huge PCB, by the way. And we can replace the LCD if you need to. This chip says e-tron Tech. But there is nothing much we can actually do with this. Even if I can remove it, and I know I can remove it, the PCB has been screwed down with a couple of screws here and there, here holding it in place. But in my opinion, there is nothing really much to see when it comes to this. I've bought this product out of curiosity. I just wanted to see how is it? Is it any good? And I can tell you, when it comes to the, let's say, overall sturdiness of the case, it's absolutely cool. I love the analog stick. The 6-button layout is pretty damn awesome. But the button mapping is one big disaster. From getting into a game, from the main menu, the quick menu, it's just one big huge shenanigans. Thank you all for watching. Consider subscribing, hit the little bell, become on the Wicked family, and it would be great to see you in the next video.